Hello,
Noah,
Danny. What's up?
you are up.
Yes, sir.
Exactly you.
Okay. I have a quick question before we start. I know
We
you don't put
already
your phone
started.
on private or anything. But is it possible? That because some people are saying that they're seeing unknown when you call? Is it possible that's their carrier, or maybe there's a setting in the phone that if you don't
Oh,
have them saved as a contact, or they don't have you saved as a contact, that they see unknown or something? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. You can see my number, right?
Exactly. That's why when
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe if they don't have you
You know
stored as a
what?
contact, it
All
doesn't
this
make sense.
stuff changes so rapidly. I just kind of shrug my shoulders. Or they're lying. They
Pretty
say,
much.
"Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't answer blocked calls." Well, I'm not blocking my. There's no. I could spoof my line on every outgoing call and make it the local police department or whatever, but it's just not
Yeah.
worth, it's not worth the shenanigans. I had all those
Right.
trap and trace lines on my phone when I was a private investigator, and there's no reason to do any of that stuff anymore.
100%. No, because a couple of people are saying, "Oh, unknown." So I'm like, maybe that's why they're not answering, but they don't answer anyway. But I
Yeah,
was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him, but I don't think
I
so.
try
Right?
not to spend a lot of time on lamenting over they're not answering. And then, I just called a guy
Right.
in Texas and he hasn't answered in 4 months and he just picks up the phone. Well, all right. I'm not going to ask him where he's been or why he doesn't return my calls. And then he says, I
Exactly.
don't have any space. Well, then there's this laundromat. This guy's
Exactly.
name is Amula, which is funny to me.
I'm Amanula. Yeah. So this guy, I looked him up on the property assessment rolls. Him and his wife own the whole strip from 5155 until 5165, which is the laundromat. And apparently, he has an appliance store right next door in which he sits inside and works in. So this is the only number I could find for him. We'll see what happens. This is the number for the appliance shop. Funny enough that half the machines are broken in there. He owns an appliance shop. But apparently he's a bit of a dickhead, so this could be a good one.
Aren't they all? I'd be surprised if they don't operate it, but you have to wonder why he doesn't go over there and fix the stuff. Weird.
That's it. So I wrote landlord and maybe OP. Like I said, there's no number for the laundromat at all. He's sitting next door, so I'm 99% sure he's the operator, but you never know.
All right, and this is the number to the shop.
Exactly.
Next door. All right, here we go. All the explanation I need.
Hello.
Hi there. Is
Hi.
Amanula available?
Hello?
Hi. This is Danny
Yeah, speaking.
I am interested
Yeah, Danny.
I'm interested in renting some space from you there. Your the laundromat, the coin-op laundromat. Do you operate that
Okay.
laundromat or you just own the building?
No, it's mine, yeah.
So you run it and that is your building, correct?
Who is this I'm talking?
My name's Danny. I'm interested in renting it from you. I want to give you a
Renting
rent
what?
check. The laundromat.
How are you going to rent it?
How I'm going to rent it is offering you an appropriate rental rate, provide you with a rent check
Okay.
just like any tenant would, and put some new equipment
Okay.
in. I run several
Yeah,
laundromats
what?
in 3 provinces, and my partner and I have been inside of the laundromat, and we figured that maybe you might want to lease it out instead of continuing to operate it.
Yeah,
I would.
what kind of instrument you want to put?
It doesn't matter to me. I use Hips, Speed Clean, Wascomat, American Dryer, Dexter, whoever gives me the best price. I have relationships with pretty much all of
Yeah.
the distributors.
Danny, I don't have no space there. It's already tight.
What are you talking
Y-
about? It's already tight. I want to lease it from you and allow you to extricate yourself from the business. I'm not looking to lease small space.
Yeah,
Maybe we don't understand each other.
we don't.
Okay.
Anyway, if you want
You
to talk to me, pass by, see
No,
what you can do.
I'm
Yeah,
making sure. I'm making dozens of calls today. I'm local. I'm looking to rent the laundromat space from you when the time comes. You work on fix equipment.
yeah. It's all the machine is mine.
I understand, but you're no
Yeah.
longer keeping up with the maintenance on the equipment.
No, this is I have my own technician to do that.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that you understand what it is that I'm interested in doing. I want to give you a monthly rent check, allow you to stop running the laundromat. I'll run the laundromat. You asked me, how can I do that? Well, it's the same as renting any other space. I don't want to buy the
Yeah.
business from you. I'm not asking you what you're earning. You and I both know that you're no
Mhm.
longer keeping up with the laundromat and it's no longer really serving that area.
Mm.
So why not
Mm.
collect a check?
No, it don't work to me. I'm an old fashioned. It doesn't work like that.
You're old
Okay?
fashioned.
Because
No, but you own
yeah,
the building. So being old fashioned has
yeah.
nothing to do with. You need to go next door and fix the equipment or buy new equipment or lease the space to someone who can come in and run it properly. You know that.
Yeah, but you don't give enough money to pay the rent. Rent is $4,000.
Okay, the rent is $4,000. Perfect. And
Yeah,
you can't make enough money to pay that rent. That's what you're telling me.
exactly.
Okay, but you're operating, now we're talking, but you're operating the
Yeah,
store with old
mm.
equipment,
Yeah. It's
with,
$2 a load.
oh, I understand. But if you
Yeah.
imagine you had all new equipment, we'd be having a very
Mm-hmm.
different conversation. And you don't have
Okay.
the understanding, the wherewithal, perhaps the money, that's your business, to renew the
Mm.
equipment. So lease the space. If it's $4,000 a
No,
month, of course, why do you say no? It has nothing to do with
yeah.
being old
I'm not,
fashioned.
yeah. I'm not interested.
You're not interested in collecting
Thank you.
$4,000 a month.
No,
N-
no.
You don't want $4,000 a month in rent.
No, I don't want 4,000.
Okay, let's go down to the tattoo parlor, you and I, and we'll get tattoos that you don't want money. So you go
Yeah.
into the repair shop every day and sit there and don't go next door and
Mm.
fix the equipment because you're old fashioned and not interested in money. That's pretty old fashioned. Do you want to trade for
Very old.
eggs?
No, I don't like egg. I like the sweet ball.
Okay, you want to trade for sweet balls. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, because we eat a lot of sweet ball in Bangladesh.
Got it.
Doctor called me, we are sweet people. I have to let you go. I have two people sitting in front of me.
No, you
Okay,
don't.
thank you.
No, you
Nice
don't.
talking to you.
No, you
Bye-bye.
don't.
Bye, thank
No,
you.
you don't.
Bye-bye.
No, you don't. Well, you made it on YouTube, Noah. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, the notes are all over the place because everything you were saying didn't really make any sense. So
I like the guy. Nice guy. Sweet
he's a
balls.
character.
Let me Google that. That was my college nickname.
Yeah, I don't know what he was
Sweet
talking about, the 4K a
balls.
month in rent.
I thought
because
that was
he's
his wife.
the
I'm glad I
landlord.
didn't say yes, ma'am, to begin with.
In the beginning, me too. It sounded like a woman. So yeah. And he starts talking about how much he's charging per load. I don't know. He was just all over the place. I don't get it.
And I
But
see that you're writing all
whatever.
that down. But look, I don't believe for an instant that this has anything to do with language barrier. You've heard me for a long
No,
time.
no.
I've got 1,500 YouTube videos. I don't call up someone who's Chinese or Indian or South American and talk any slower. And if I might mirror their cadence, but there's no need to scream into the phone but put on the Indian accent. It doesn't make any sense. The guy lives in French
Exactly.
Canada, and he's Indian. Good for him. Sweet balls. Good to know.
Mhm.
And he's literally it's heartbreaking that this guy, okay, he's no longer in a third world country. He's made
Right.
it to Canada, and he's sitting there running two businesses into the ground. Oh, I have two people in
Exactly.
front of me. No, you don't. Nice guy. He didn't want to hang up
Because
on me. He wanted to apologize and get me off the phone. But he did give us some information, right? If I were to put this
Right.
into proper verbiage, the rent should be $4,000 per month, but I can't even afford to allocate that rent to myself. So how would you be different, sir? That's what he meant to say, right?
Okay, exactly.
In his adorable way of saying it. The rent should be $4,000 a month, and I can't even afford to allocate that to myself. So how would you be different, sir? And I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, I don't think he understood the whole concept of putting new machines in, and I think he felt like you're just gonna take the same machines that are there and run it like that as is.
I own the machines. No shit.
Yeah, we don't want the machines. You claim you have a technician, but he's definitely
that's the utter desperation of some of these small business owners.
Right.
I'm not talking about putting some $10,000 card reader or a fucking ozone machine. I'm talking about properly, like you said, there's no telephone number there. At some point it had one in the 80s and 90s, I'm sure. And now there's no phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you're not on Google. You're not listed in any of the internets when people say, where's the nearest laundromat, Siri /
right.
whatever system you utilize. It's not there.
Okay.
I like the guy. What are we going to do now? Well, I don't mind calling. Look, he answers the phone. He talks. He's got my number like we talked about on the caller ID.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the sweet balls. Maybe we send him some sweet balls. Figure out before we talk next, Noah, where's the best sweet balls in all of Canada?
Got it.
And we're going to send this dude some sweet balls. Wonder if
Sounds
YouTube
good.
cares how many times I say sweet balls. I believe it's spelled a B-A-L-L-Z.
Sweet balls.
It sounds
Hey, what's interesting,
even better when you say it. All right, God damn it. Yeah, nice store. I shouldn't say nice. He's got one folding table in there, in air quotes, and it's a lifetime folding table. Not a folding table, but what do you call it? A picnic table that you buy at Lowe's Depot.
A couple plastic chairs. Yeah,
a couple of those plastic death chairs, and just shit tons of old top loaders. Oy vey. But there's people in there.
If you look on picture, if you look on picture 10, is that a swamp cooler? What is that exactly? What would you?
That's a heater.
Heater?
Yeah. There's snow on the ground. They probably survive without an air conditioning unit here.
Exactly. This was in January on a Sunday, so hence the snow and the people.
All right, let's move along here before we whip the YouTube into a frenzy without using any specifics or addresses, as you well know. The next dude Okay. So this is a guy, you like to give me the recap, so carry on. What happened here?
So they are the landlords as well as the operators. We reached him the first time we called him over a month ago. We reached him, and he said he's no longer interested in operating the laundromat, and he would be interested in signing a lease. He had to go talk to his brother. You asked him the rate of rent. He said he has to ask his brother because the whole family is involved and whatnot. We called him back a few weeks later. He told you $5,000 a month,
Oof.
and then ended up telling you it's 2,200 square feet. So you pretty much countered with $1 a square foot. He didn't say no.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't say he didn't say no, but he said, you do know that there's business taxes, right? You said, of course, I'm not asking for a gross lease rate. Once again, he has to go back and talk to his brother about it. So since that day, he's never answered. The last time we called him for about 4 or 5 weeks straight. So,
Well, the thing about someone like this, number one, we call, we get him on the phone. He says, I don't want to run the laundromat anymore. But they're bringing in income. So it's not the end of the world. They're in no rush, no hurry. It's bringing in income. And cash is different. If you're running a nail salon, you've got 50 employees. Those people have to earn a living. If you're running a dollar store, you've got to bring in product and sell it. If it's a dentist's office, you got to have at least one guy or gal. You got to have one dentist who probably has a license to stick their hands in people's mouths. Well, this is a laundromat. It's cash money. And so they're kind of like, So we get him on the phone. He says, I got to talk to my brother. I don't have a lease rate, and that's typical, and I'm never going to provide the lease rate. If I said $1, then he might say, yeah. And that's the end of it.
Right. Well, the thing about this place is that there's absolutely nobody in there, even on a Sunday. I've passed by on multiple Saturdays, Sundays, not a soul in there. It's completely dead. So I don't know how much money they're actually collecting, if any.
Well, whatever it is, it's cash. And I hear what you're saying. But there's always this back and forth. And now here we are. He's sitting on his hands. He's not doing much. And we're going to see if we can't get, it's Antoine, yeah?
Right, exactly. So he hasn't answered since March 4th.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. Now's the time. I'm dialing him up.
Right.
Stand by.
Sounds good.
Now's where you subscribe when you hear the ring. Do it. Do it.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Antoine. It is truly money calling, Antoine. Danny, the laundry guy, let's get this thing taken care of. You've got my number. We're ready to give you a letter of intent, but we have to drill down the lease rate. It has to make sense for us. You know what you're earning in there. It's nominal. Let's get you a check. You've got my number, bud. Noah.
Yes, sir.
Well, 1 out of 2. And this is the game, right? You understand the game.
Right.
We get sweet balls, and then we got Mr. I don't answer because I don't give a shit. And you start to really wonder, what is the scenario? What is the background? Why don't these people talk? Well, dude, you deal with a couple of calls a month where we leave messages. I'm doing this all the live long day. So persistence is key. And it's not that you're getting the door slammed in your face. Most people that do sales, they can't stand it. They're either in it for a week or for life. Oh, I can't stand the no. I can't handle getting the door slammed in my face. But I enjoy it. Not the no, but getting to know the folks on the other end of the call. Sweet balls, right?
Right.
Hey,
So sometimes I wonder when's the next, like, when I should stop pursuing this one every single week. You know, if
okay,
they
well,
stop
that's a
answering
good
for
that's a good question.
time.
That only you can answer that. There's enough stores. Look, this particular one, right? Brand new to us. And so I don't give anybody those answers. I'm not here to tell you when you should put new ones in front of me versus older locations, but look, I understand the sleepless nights. I sit and think about building off-grid cabins while you're sitting and thinking about starting laundries because I did that, been there. And I don't want you to lose sleep. I want you to sit and realize, okay, I'm not going to let you make a mistake. I'm not going to allow you to go in and jump into a $5,000 a month lease rate because you see dollar signs. No. And these people all know. I mean, it's palpable. You watch YouTube, then you get a silly course, then you go out and you look at these stores, you go, good God, this is real. I can't believe this.
Right.
The payphone is the greatest example. Oh, there's no payphones in laundromats. This information must be old. No, I'm not changing anything because it's still true today. Payphones. Unbelievable. Exactly. Who's collecting that money? Well, nobody on the YouTube-inator is saying a damn thing. It's like we got to pull teeth for these people to say, ask a damn question. What's the quote of the day, Noah? Try not to be an idiot. There it is, first and foremost.
There you go. Stay persistent.
You got me for exactly 5 minutes, so tell me a story. Why laundromats?
Why laundromats? Well, it all started in the pandemic when I was sick of working warehouse jobs and working in factories and whatnot. And we started to hear this word float around essential businesses. So we started to see a lot of small businesses get shut down. So this is a time where I wanted to change my life around and do something more than just the jobs I was working. And I started to think about essential businesses. Well, you have grocery stores, you have dollar stores, you have pharmacies, and then one of them that popped up was Laundromat. So I started to do a little bit of research, and I found your page fairly quick, and the rest is history.
Sweet balls. Sweet balls be history. Well, be persistent, stick with it. You know, the promises that are made, I am not going to allow you to get into something that's going to wring your neck. And at the end of the day, if you never, ever own a laundromat and you never do this, thank God you didn't take your Gram's inheritance and dump it into someone's failure. And that's what the rest of the world is screaming. Buy a laundromat at all costs. You've got to get into this business. No. These folks also, part of the reason that they might not be leasing to you, maybe they want to sell it. Perhaps they think they have a saleable asset, and they might. So as a landlord and an operator, I believe both of these calls that we're making, they're both landlord operators. And don't forget, it doesn't matter. I get emails, oh, I found a store, but it's not for sale. So what? That's not a parameter.
Exactly.
Oh, I found a store, but the landlord doesn't own it. So what? Not a parameter. Every shitty laundromat is in our wheelhouse. So in these cases, they are the operator and the landlord. So they might be thinking, well, I have something saleable. Why would it behoove them to hand it to you and allow you to lease it?
Exactly.
No, I'm asking the real question, not a rhetorical.
In this, the second call, maybe he wants more rent. He wants $5,000. Oh, well, I can go rent it to a pharmacy. He says, well, then
that's true.
Go do that.
But I'm asking not why he should no longer have a laundry there or a shitty laundry the way they're operating. What I'm asking is why, and I'm asking this of everybody listening in on the stream, in the chat, or if you're watching this evergreen, let me know because we haven't answered it yet. Why should he lease it to you or any strong operator that calls up and talks the talk the way I do? Why should he do that instead of selling it the way it sits?
Because he's going to maintain the property. He's going to be able to keep the property first and foremost. Second of all, he's going to get a consistent rent check every month for years to come. And then I'll probably boost the value of the property by doing what we do and putting new equipment and running it properly. And it's going to be a service to the community. So why not keep
all
the
three
real
of
estate?
all three of those things are true, Noah. But what I'm looking for is a negative, because I'm a glass is half empty guy. Why should he lease it to a strong operator who's going to retool it instead of selling it?
Because he might sell it. If he sells it to somebody, they're going to fail.
There you go. Excellent. Excellent. And that's the argument. And that's what I have to say. When we get there, when they bring something up like Sweet Balls, you know, oh, he literally said in his own way, you can't afford to pay $4,000 a month because the laundromat business sucks. Dude, you fix equipment. Right. How downtrodden do you have to be to not walk next door and fix the equipment? He goes, I have an engineer, a technician that does that. What?
Clearly not, but yeah, exactly.
What? So the real argument is, sure, absolutely you can sell the business as is, where is, but the problem is you are now the landlord of a shit fuck business that is falling apart. You've taken money from them and you're their landlord. How do you feel when 3 months in they say, I'm all out of savings and I'm all out of love? There's nothing I can do here.
Right. Exactly.
You're going to throw them out on their ear? Most landlords don't want to do that. Trust me, they want to collect rent. Oh, your time is up. That was 5 minutes. Now we've got people jumping in to the chat. Ben wants to know what he missed. Austin says, Sweet Balls. There's that word again. There's that word again. Every time. That's correct. And Lindsay, just about the exact time you said it, Noah, she came up with the same answer. The new operator is going to be much closer to failure because they bought the place.
Exactly.
This guy says, Ralph Ouchteeth. I don't know why you would write that unless you just want me to say it aloud. Very strange. Try not to be an idiot. This guy is new, so you never know when new people come on. They're like, oh my God, there's a live video. I can go in there and make something funny happen. All right, Noah, I got tons and tons of shit to do. At the end of the day, I think that Sweet Balls is somebody that we get back with. I think that you have your homework, which is find some good Sweet Balls and send them to him with a little note from Danny. And
right.
We'll have a little laugh. Do I believe that a letter writing campaign or sending somebody a bottle of scotch is the way to their heart? No, but this guy likes to pretend that he doesn't want to lease the place, so we have to convince him that he really, really does. And also, if you happen to be around there and you want to PI out, try to get some pictures of the other store. I'm just interested to see how bad that is. Because
is it Flying Store?
Yeah, and
it looks from Google. It looks like a mess.
Yeah. Does he advertise? Is it like a hoarder shop? Is he sitting in there? What's the scandal? Because
hoarder shop sitting in there. I don't know. Yeah. There's any advertisement going on, but yeah, it just looks like a hoarder shop.
Try to gather a little bit more information on that. And I'm not here to hurt the guy's feelings, but
right.
At the end of the day, he has a price in mind for the lease rate there. And you could also, and I don't tell people to do this normally, but you could also do some research. Why does he come up with $4,000? Why is that the number? Why does he think that's what he could collect? He owns both spaces, the appliance store and the laundromat. And so...
and a few others.
Okay, so he is a landlord. Let's drill down on what he has. And he's renting other space. What did he say? What was the first thing that he said? How would that work? Something of that, to that effect. Right.
Exactly.
How would you rent it?
Mm-hmm.
Like you rent
how would you rent it? Yeah.
any other place, Sweet Balls. All right, Noah, I'm done with you.
Right.
Thanks for the time.
All right. Thanks.
Ciao.
Ciao.
And that's the way it works. I could sit here every day in my orifice and only publish home runs, or better yet, not publish any live calls. Edit the calls into perfectly structured lease negotiating calls. And who does that benefit? Certainly not you, the viewer. I want you to see the reality, which is a struggle, just to get them to answer the damn phone. Here we got Sweetballs, who's right next door, answering his phone, hoping he can repair someone's coffee maker. Now, some lunatic called, and I think we broke through. We had a real conversation about sending the guy, what did I say, a pizza? Lunch? Sweet balls. Can't wait to get some sweet balls. If you're here because you are truly intrigued in owning laundromats and you're new, I want to talk to the newbies. Go watch my live videos. If you're like me and you're easily distracted or bored, then don't start with the short videos in that playlist. Start with the live landlord calls, that playlist, because those are the edited ones, not edited for content. I'm not removing the good, the bad, or the ugly. But the lives, you end up getting tidbits, morsels. And I'm not the guy that's here to tell you, go spend money, go to my website, go sign up for my newsletter. That's all obvious stuff. Sweet balls.
There's that word again.
I got buttons. I do this because my heart and soul doesn't want to see you or anyone else go out and make the mistake of buying one of these failed businesses. That's how cons work. The greed isn't the con man. The preponderance of the greed is on the side of the mark, the one that's about to dig in their pocket and write a check. And when they realize, shit, this place is a total hellhole. I can't even afford to pay the rent. What do? They turn around and con the next guy by selling it again and again, and the story rolls on. Are you like me? Never stepped foot in a laundry? Middle-class people don't. And that's how they're able to sell these businesses. Oh, the poor people need them. They don't care what they look like or smell like. Not true. Serve the community with a good laundry. There's a bunch of channels that talk about that. That's obvious stuff. Good, clean, neat facilities where you don't feel like you're going to get murdered. Sweet balls.
There's that word again.
If you're joining us a little bit late, go back and watch the beginning of this. And keep your ear to the ground. Sub to the channel because you're selfish. You don't want to miss these lives. If you're seeing this evergreen and it's not live, I want you to tell me about your favorite Indian food in the comments. All he is. Later, skaters.